This is America in Space, a weekly news and information program on current events dealing with the space industry.
Welcome, and thanks for joining me today. I'm Dawn Meyer, Space Coast News Editor. NASA plans to launch the James Webb Space Telescope into orbit on December the 18th of 2021 to serve as the premier deep space observatory for at least the next decade. Webb, an international program led by NASA with its partners the European Space Agency and the Canadian Space Agency, will launch on an Ariane 5 rocket from Europe's spaceport in French Guiana on the northeastern coast of South America. Neil deGrasse Tyson talks about the mission and the complexity of the telescope.
So we have the next generation of the Hubble Space Telescope. It used to be called the NGST.
The next generation.
Space Telescope, okay? And then we find somebody to name it after, James Webb, who's not a scientist. I think it's the first telescope was not named after a scientist. But he was head of NASA while we were going to the moon. The James Webb Space Telescope, scheduled to be launched in 2021. It's been delayed because it's unique design and engineering. You don't pull that stuff off the shelf, okay? In fact, the telescope is so large, it doesn't fit in the fairing of the spaceship that's going to launch it. So they have to take the mirror and fold it up like the petals of a flower, okay? Then the thing gets launched, deployed, and then it unfurls into the mirror. It's a brilliant engineering concepts to make this thing happen. This is tuned to observe galaxies being born at the beginning of time. It is tuned precisely for that. And it can observe other things, all right? You can look deep inside. So it's tuned for infrared, make that happen. And it's got a huge collecting area. So it can look deep inside of gas clouds because infrared can penetrate clouds. Nice. So you take an infrared pointed at clouds in the universe, you see deep down in, you can see the formation of brand new stars and planets. So here's just an interesting thought. Different materials are transparent to different bands of light. Different things are completely transparent to different bands of light. When we think of something as opaque, it's only opaque for a particular band of light and not other bands of light. And there you have the entire electromagnetic spectrum serving the curiosity of cosmic scientists, which we call astrophysicists, as we decode the nature of the universe.
Originally scheduled to launch in 2003, the telescope has had a long history of delays, budget cuts, design difficulties, and more, as outlined by Starlight.
Why the holdup? Unfortunately, NASA often takes the latter half of the government's budget. With no real urgency to explore space, they often receive an influx of budget cuts. Some years they may gain more money, while others they lose out on millions. This inconsistent funding has forced NASA's executives to work around the money they had. After all, the JWST is a $10 billion project, and they did not always have the funds to build it. The first delay was in 2003. Production was pushed back to 2011 in the face of war. It was delayed again to October 31st, 2021, then again to December 18, 2021. More so, one must remember that there's only one chance to get this launch right. The concept of trial and error does not apply to a $10 billion project. The JWST will be in full swing by early 2022.
Here's a little bit more on what the James Webb Space Telescope is supposed to accomplish and the wonders that it will see in the universe.
The mission, with a new ability to see 13.5 billion years back in time, the human race will be entering a golden age of space exploration. After its initial launch, the JWST will travel 29 days across 1 million miles of space to its final orbiting location. During those 29 days, the JWST will have to unfold slowly. It will be a nail-biting time for the crew at NASA because if something were to go wrong, then the entire mission would be a failure. They only get one chance to do this right. Once the JWST has reached its final orbit, it will remain there for the rest of its life, with enough fuel to remain operable for a minimum of 5 years. We have not remotely had the technology to study these questions in depth. Now, with a telescope that can peer millions of years into the past, it is time we got answers.
The James Webb Space Telescope promises what is being heralded as a new age of space exploration with answers to the known universe. It promises to elevate science and astronomy to levels we only dreamed about in science fiction. Now, after nearly a quarter century in the making, the James Webb Space Telescope will launch us into a new realm of scientific discoveries in astronomy. From Florida's Space Coast, this is Dawn Meyer for About Space Today. I'm Dawn Meyer, Space Coast News Editor.
And I'm David Denault, host of About Space, inviting you to join us for our Christmas specials. On Tuesday, December the 21st, Dawn Meyer will share one of her most cherished holiday memories as a child, my Christmas telescope. And on Friday, Christmas Eve, join me with a message from the moon long ago.
From all of us, we wish you good tidings and a happier new year. I'm Rick Potlock.
We hope you'll enjoy our holiday memories with you.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to share our program with your family and friends and follow us on Facebook. Join us each week for news and information on America in Space.